Good afternoon to you. I think I've got that to work. Um, so today is shouldn't that would have been loud. Today is new brace day. So what that means is I'm gonna increase the angle on my brace ever so slightly. So I was allowed to go up to 45 degrees last Wednesday, but I only went up to 20 degrees. So today I'm going to go up to 30 degrees. Now I've got some exercises to do, and I'm probably not going to bother showing you all of them, just because I think it'll be boring, to be honest. I'll show you my knee exercises, like my quad exercises, what I'm going to do there, but I won't bother showing you the upper body stuff because I think that'll be a bit boring. What I am going to do instead is, so a few new people following me, I have a free course called 14 Strong on strength training. Um, so as part of that, there's technique review, and I've got a bunch of people that I've got technique reviews that are overdue with it. But I mean, it's free, so like you can't complain, really, can you? Technique reviews that are overdue that I'm going to go through. I'm going to start at the end of this video. So depending on how many there are, might be 1, 2, 7. I'll go through the technique reviews at the end. So for today, I'm going to start with the Rehab stuff. Don't know how well you can see the scar there. Obviously I've not got my braces on. I prefer not to have it on for this. So dead simple. I've progressed this now. What I'm going to do at first is I'm just going to lift my knee off my hand. Just dead simple. Just 10 reps. I'm only rehabbing my right leg at the minute. Because I explained the reason I explained in the other video. But this is it. This is how exciting the rehab is. So at the minute now, I'm gradually getting able to do more without it getting too painful and too uncomfortable. I think the worst part of the rehab is probably still to come. I suspect that even with me wanting to be more conservative, it's still going to be quite uncomfortable. But I don't mind that. Like, it'll make it fun, won't it? So it is middle of the afternoon. I am fortunate enough that my work today has mostly just been calls. So the next thing I'm going to do is just contractions. I'm doing this on both sides. Right side is better. So mostly just calls. Today's the first day back doing consultations, so that's nice. Everything's been going well. I thought I was going to be completely knackered. So far, touch wood, it's alright. So, third exercise is real exciting, isn't it? So this is what I'm doing like 4 or 5 times a day. And then the third one is knee up, and then just a hold, roughly for 10 seconds. And I'm trying to lift up with my leg rather than pushing my heel down into the bed. But this is a massive improvement compared to what it's been like over the last week or so. So what I will do is I'll go through this a few rounds, nothing crazy, and then I'll move on to the new brace. I do think because of how much I'm sort of sat on the bed, how much I'm pushing down onto it, my knee is slightly bent anywhere. It's not quite at a straight angle. So I do think that that's helped a little bit. And I have been resting with my knee on a raised height to get that extra range of motion. And basically it's just stretching. And I think something that lots of people get wrong with stretching is they treat it differently to strength training, when really stretching and strength training is the same thing. The only difference is in how you might actually do it, the positions you might hold, how long you hold them for. But what I mean by that is people think that stretching is just used as like a nice relaxing thing, and it can be, don't get me wrong, but that's not the way to make the most progress. Just like with strength training, just nice easy workouts are not the way to make the most strength training progress. Like, you need to actually do things that are a little bit uncomfortable. Look how much of my calf has disappeared there. That's bone. I used to have big calves, not anymore. Tiny now. literally just this little thing. The same on the other side. Never really been one for chicken legs, not since I started well, that's a lie. I did actually have quite skinny legs when I was younger, and that's when I then tore my pec and my bicep, and then after that I definitely did not have skinny legs because I did a program called Smolov. So it's a Russian program for squatting, and I basically did it every day. I squatted for the better part of about 6 months. Not every day, but like every training session I was squatting. So let's adjust these. So my legs got big anyway, so I've not had skinny legs since then. So at the minute we're at 20 degrees. I'm going to go up to 30 degrees. So that's to that angle there. Like I say, I think I'm already past there. I could go all the way up to 45, but like I keep saying, slower I think is better. I'm already at 30 on that side. Oh no, that's fine. 30 and 30. So, yeah, I still haven't tried to do any straight leg raises. That is part of the rehab, but just not the part I'm at yet. A couple of good things. So I was asking lots of people at the hospital about washing these braces. So if anyone is watching this who's going through this, you can wash them. What you have to do is pull off the pads, and they can be washed on like a delicate wash, and then they need to be just left out to dry. They can't go in a drying machine, tumble dryer. They have to be left out to dry. So that is from the instruction pack that comes with the braces. So I think I've got 3 pairs of them now, so I can rotate them so they don't end up smelling as much, because I do find that, so I don't wear them during the day if I'm just sat down. I only wear them if I'm moving about, and when I'm on the bike, when I'm on the wheelchair as well. So look, if I bend that to 30 degrees there and lift my leg up with it, that's how high it is. So that's about to what I'm doing. So if I actively hold my leg there, this is actually okay. It's like, I think that's about the most I can manage, and this is on loosely, to be fair. So actually, if I tighten this up a bit more, the good thing is the scars now, the top half of both of the scars is mostly healed. It's just the bottom half that's got a ways to go, but they're just a bit scabby. So if I go to the max range of that, it's uncomfortable, but it's tolerable. I think I'm lifting my foot ever so slightly off the bed, because it's kind of like gliding. It's not the most pleasant, I'll be honest. It's crazy. So I'm in a quadricep tendon repair group on Facebook, and so there's a chap who's also in the UK and down south, so it's NHS as well, so you'd think similar treatment guidelines and whatnot. He was just given a Zimmer frame to go home with. I think he said it was 2 or 3 days after he was out of the hospital, he was using the Zimmer frame and walking again, which just seems insane to me. I couldn't imagine doing that, to be honest. I mean, to be fair, if that's what I was given, I probably would have. I would have given it my best try, but it just doesn't seem practical at all. The only reason I can think of is that, so my right side was a nice clean tear, it's a nice straightforward surgery. The left obviously wasn't. So I'm wondering if that's why I've got to have the wheelchair. I'm trying to get information from the hospital. It's like getting blood out of a stone. So this is the new range of motion that I can go to. So what I like to do is figure out how high that is roughly, and essentially I'm looking for something that I can fit underneath it, that I can rest my leg on. So I did pick this up today to use. I think that's going to be way too high. This also is way too high. Let me see if I've got anything down here. Something I thought about was the dumbbells, but I think that might be uncomfortable. So it might just be a case of still using I can't quite reach the thing. I'll have to do that afterwards. Still using the rolled up, what's it called? Blanket. That's the word. Still using the rolled up blanket instead. So we shall see. So I'm just going to carry on doing this. And then for my exercise today, I think I'm going to do just a bit of upper body stuff, but it's going to be real light. Now what I'm going to do is, instead of keeping going on and on and on about this, because there isn't really anything much to show you in the way of progress with this today, and the actual exercise is not going to be very exciting, because I'm basically just going to be using like the 4 and 6 kilo dumbbell and doing like a billion reps. Is I'll just skip straight to the technique reviews. I'll run through them, and then I will see you in the next video, which will be whenever I next make one. So I will chat to you soon.
So we're going to have a
I'll
look
put the
at
technique reviews
Gary's
first.
technique. So I do apologise, Gary. It's taken me a while to get back to you. So this is from 14 Strong. You go to 14strong.com. On day 3 and day 10, you can upload your technique and I will go through and review it. Normally, I would be faster in getting it back to you, but basically with 14 Strong, I've made it so that you can go through it anytime you want. And then what I'll do is I'll go through your technique a week, 10 days later is my target. I'll go through it on a YouTube video here, so it helps you and hopefully helps other people. The reason for that is when I was doing it just as groups, like pop-up groups, it just takes too much time. So this way I can just leave it open that anyone can use it at any point. You'll get 2 technique reviews. It's free, means I can help lots of people. The next way to get technique reviews, I guess, for free would be to sign up for the app, in which you get access to the members area, which will have technique reviews in it much more often and much more detailed, to be honest. So anyway, this is Gary's. So Gary's competing here. This looks like, I think 100. Excuse me, I think this is 170 kilos. So let's have a watch. So I've not actually looked at these yet. So decent walkout in a good position. Good depth. That was lovely. I assume that was a good lift. 3 white lights, perfect, yeah. So let's go back. There's only like the tiniest little thing, and that's just as you come up, it just looks like you lose your balance ever so slightly there. But I think that's just the speed of the bar moving. You can see at the top, the bar is kind of like settling above. Just if I show you with this, if this will open, the bar just comes off your back ever so slightly. But to be honest, that was spot on. I wouldn't be trying to change anything with that. So this next squat we've got here looks like it's in the gym. Oh, turn that down. So let's have a look at the walkout. Decent. Well, this one's different. So you can see already here that your heels are coming up on both sides there. Let's point it with a big arrow there and there. Your heels are coming down. Compare that to your squat. The other squat, your feet were more like this in the position that they were in. So your heel was more like that, and it was similar on the other side of more like that. So what that meant was that your feet were pointing in a different. Your feet were slightly wider out. Your knees went slightly wider out as well, and that meant that you could get lower with the depth. Now, obviously, we'll watch the rest of the reps, but that initially is my thoughts on that. Yeah, so you can see as you go down, you're just rolling onto your feet. Your heels are coming up ever so slightly. Yeah, and you come up onto your toes there on that second rep and the third rep. Now, I don't know. I don't think you're wearing different shoes. So let's bring this one back up now. So shoes on here, if you watch in the bottom position. So bottom position there. I don't mean to have the arrow on that. Bottom position there, look at your feet. If we play that solid the whole time, depth is nice and deep too. Look at this, you can see your hips are clearly below your knees there. So your hip joint is about there. I know you can't see it perfectly there, but that's kind of the angle that you're at. You can see here, if you follow that straight line through there, your hip is roughly there. Obviously, it's like behind your body, which is definitely below your knee. Contrast that bottom position there to on these. Your bottom position here. Let's get it right to the bottom to make it as fair as possible. It's actually not as bad, but if you have a look, if you think of where your knee is there, roughly, your knee is there, your hip joint, the crease is about there. But if you look here, you see how there's a big gap between your knees there, whereas on this one, the gap between your knees is going to be much narrower, and I think that's because you've got wider foot position there compared to here. So this one, your feet are roughly in line with your shoulders there, whereas on this one, your shoulders out there. That was a terrible line attempt, wasn't it? This one, the edge of your shoulder is there, so your foot would be there. We'll do that side again. So then your foot would be there. So both of your feet need to come out wider there and there. So you can see your feet are just a bit too narrow on that, I think. I think you'd be better served having them a bit deeper. That'll be the main thing on that. And then the next thing is just the speed of the reps. Going straight into the next one. I would take your time to get your breath, that's all. But this does look like it's an easier session. Obviously, it's beltless as well. Typically, you see people when they do beltless stuff, they actually tend to go deeper rather than not as deep. So it's interesting that you've gone that way. Now, this is all to say, Gary is a very good powerlifter, so this isn't meant in a negative way at all. I think he's going for some masters records, but this is just the feedback. Next up, we've got the bench. I think this is 90 kilos. Forgive me if I'm wrong. So, first thing here, we've got max grip on the bench. So, I think that's just about max grip because I can't quite see the rings on the bar. Let's have a look at this. Right, so first thoughts are how unstable that looks. So even just to get in a position. So what I would consider is once you push your shoulders down into the ground, is lifting your hips up so that then you can drive your shoulders down into the ground and then use that to leverage to get the bar out into position. So sort of like this action with your whole body moving, just to get into position. Then let's have a look. Foot position's fine. So knee position on bench. So generally you want knee below the hip, which you've got, so that's good. What that means is you can actually have some tension through your legs, and generally I would encourage people to have knees going outwards. That's going to vary person to person. So yeah, it just looks unstable there. Hopefully that makes sense. Right, yeah. So just before I talk about the bench, because I just thought with the squat I should actually give you something useful. What I would suggest doing with the squats is doing more pause squats into that bottom position to reinforce the position in the whole and to make being in that bottom position consistent every rep as much as possible. In terms of specific accessory work, I think that would be what I would choose. From what I remember, you don't train too often, so I wouldn't be doing loads of extra stuff in the way of accessory work if you wanted to maximise just the powerlifting. If you're in more of like an off-season phase, then yeah, I'd be looking at doing more work in general, and more variety of work. But for now, for the phase that I think you're going into with you saying about competing soon, it'd be more pause work to actually be in a good position. I'm not going to go through the velocity tracking stuff on these videos, I don't think, unless there's a demand for it, because they take a long time to do. I'm just doing them for my athletes first, so that'll be in the members area, which you can sign up for if you want to. You'll get access, like I said, for a full month for free, before you'd even have to pay anything. So you can still access it for a month and cancel your payment if you want. Right, so back to the bench. So this is quite unstable. So you can see on the initial benching, you're quite unstable. And then when you actually go into the rep, you see in the bottom there, you're kind of shaking a little bit side to side. So for that, you just need to be in a more stable position. Now, what I would suggest doing for that, this is not going to be very exciting feedback, but it's going to be to work on those positions. So again, more paused work, but pausing as in not just letting the bar rest on your chest so that it moves. Don't know if you can see how the bar's moving around there before you actually get the press command. More paused work, and then the way you're pressing, I would be doing more work, more dumbbell pressing, just more work for your pecs, like just straight up, straightforward stuff. Cool, and then let's have a look at your deadlift. So this looks like, well, we've got 170, 180, 195, 200, I think. So deadlift slippers, good shout. Conventional, good man. Mixed grip, very good. Lovely position. That was brilliant. I ain't got anything to tell you. Like, that was spot on. So the only thing with this is going to be when you start the movement, you'll notice your hips come up a little bit faster than the bar there. So if you watch where the bar position is, the bar starts moving just a tiny bit if you look at this, and your hips move a bit more up here, but it's nothing crazy. It's not something that I would like be concerned about. You see there, it's just a tiny little thing of look how much higher your hips move compared to the bar, but that's just getting into a good position. And the actual lift is lovely. Your legs stay in a real good position. You keep your knees bent right until lockout, which is a good thing, and then hips and knees at the same time. Finish the lift. Spot on. Shoulders back. This is brilliant. So for this, for you, what I would probably suggest you do is spend more time actually just deadlifting. So looking at this video, your weak spot, it looks like it's just getting the bar off the ground. So I would do more work on actual deadlifts and then go from there. So yeah, overall, I would give your technique on each of the lifts in total like an average of like a 7 out of 10. So if we've got, with the scale we'll use, we've got minus 10 to 10. So minus 10, super dangerous, horrible, don't want to see it. 0, adequate, not going to hate yourself. 10 being like perfect technique. I'd say your deadlift is like 7 is absolutely brilliant. I would just want to see something heavier, to be honest. This doesn't look like it's your max. I think you probably got another 10 kilos in you there. The bench, I would give a lower score, maybe of like a 6, 5 or a 6. The squat video in the gym, I would give that like a 3, to be honest. The squat video in the competition, I would give that a good 7 or 8 as well. But it's the same thing of I think it just could do with seeing a bit heavier. So all in all, fantastic work. Now, if you want your videos reviewing, you can either go through 14strong.com, get it for free, it'll be up on YouTube, or you can join the members site and you get it much, much faster, still also for free. So for that one, I've set up a trial for people that watch YouTube. So getstrongfeelawesome.com/trial. Head up over there. You'll have to put in your payment details because it is a subscription to my monthly group coaching and the app. But you can sign up and then literally immediately cancel the subscription if you want. You will get access to my member site for a full month as well. So you get access to me and all my nonsense and my more regular videos. And that's where I go through stuff using the Velocity software and stuff. But I'm not going to do that for YouTube. Anyway, with that said, this is actually the end of the video. So take care and I will speak to you in the future.